The Broncos, Cardinals, Ravens, and Seahawks. This will be the first season without any member of Seattle's famed Legion of Boom defense. Gentlemen, with both quarterbacks Russell Wilson and head coach Pete Carroll still in place, are the Seahawks the Patriots of the NFC?
They're the closest. Look, I've always said this. They're the closest thing the NFC has to an answer to the Patriots. Let me be very clear. The Patriots are greater than the Seahawks. Belichick is greater than Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Brady is greater than Russell Wilson. So I'm not arguing that, but I'm telling you this. The Patriots, think about how the whole thing started. They have a young quarterback, right, who replaces a veteran who had been to the playoffs. That veteran had some success. Belichick takes over. Brady gets the job. And he's a game manager who's big on third down and good under pressure before he became a great player. And the Patriots have a ton of success early. They win Super Bowl after Super Bowl because they're the greatest dynasty considering parity of the era of all time. It's not close in the NFL. The Seahawks don't quite do that. But they had a coach in place. They have Matt Hasselbeck, a veteran quarterback. They finally make the playoffs. They win a playoff game. Then they draft Russell Wilson. They have a great coach and a great quarterback. They make the playoffs. They win. When they lose, it's close. Like they lose to Atlanta in a close game and Russell Wilson balls out. They win the Super Bowl. Then they lose close to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. At the same time in the
Patriots... They didn't have to lose close to the Patriots.
I understand.
They did that. They made that mistake.
I understand. But at the same time, they're not the Patriots. But at the same time in the Patriots' history, they'd won Super Bowls. They had ultimate success. Then it cooled off for a while. Right? It was 10 years in between Super Bowl wins, and then they got back on the stick. And in that time, they were a powerhouse every year. They made the playoffs almost, except for 1 year that Brady got hurt. They would almost always win at least a playoff game, but sometimes only a playoff game. Once maybe they didn't win a playoff game. The Seahawks went through that period already, or maybe they're still going through it. That doesn't mean, just because it's still earlier in Wilson's career with Carroll, earlier in the Seahawks' history, that they won't ultimately have success. And I predict, as long as those two are in place, the Seahawks will be a powerhouse every year. They're not done winning Super Bowls, and they're the closest thing the NFC has an answer to the Patriots.
Here's what I would say.
Closest thing, though. I mean, that's
there is no Patriots.
Right?
I
don't even put them in the same sentence.
But here's what I would say. Seattle, Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson together. Do I think that they have a chance to win another Super Bowl? At some point in time, yes. But to try and say that they're the closest thing to the Patriots, it's not fair to them and it's not fair to the Patriots and it's not fair to the NFC because the New Orleans Saints is right there too. Mm-hmm. I mean, Drew Brees and Sean Payton have been together and they actually won a Super Bowl. They should have been in the Super Bowl last year, but we all know what happened there. But when you look at it, the constant for them has been the coaching staff of the New England Patriots. There's turnover in Seattle on their coaching staff.
And in the front office.
And the front office. Where in New England, Josh McDaniels left for a couple years. What happened? He came right back. I mean, and other than that, it just started happening to New England where they're losing coaches. Charlie Weiss and Romeo Crennel, they left, but they were allowed to bring in Josh McDaniels to make him the offensive coordinator when Charlie left. So that's been consistent for them the entire way. There's no consistency on the Seattle Seahawks coaching staff
because the coach is not the
So
GM in Seattle.
At all.
There is, last segment, I said something that might have been considered a little bit absurd, but you didn't even give me a segment to be the most absurd thing on the show. You said that the closest thing to the Patriots, that's near blasphemy. They won 6 Super Bowls and went to 8. But they've won 1 Super Bowl and
blew another
2.
one. But I get so mad about that play.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I don't think that was the wrong play. They lost, but I don't think it was because of that.
The Patriots' Super Bowl success has come in very recent years. That's a decade or more into the process that the Seattle Seahawks are not in.
No, but they've been hanging around. But they've been hanging around like seriously.
And they've shown
hanging around as home field, first seed, second seed. They're not wild cards.
And they've shown an ability to recreate that team and win Super Bowls that way. The Seahawks are in the process of recreating that team and not winning a Super Bowl. It's 6-1, 8-2. I don't even know why I'm having this conversation.
But that's a ridiculous. You can't compare at this stage. You have to compare at the similar stage. At a similar stage of the quarterback-coach link-up. How many years went by? What have they done? The Patriots won 3. They were all close. All those Super Bowls were close.
Yes,
okay,
that's correct.
Seattle has been to 2 and won 1 at a similar point in their history.
They didn't blow.
No,
They absolutely
they blew it. They blew it.
The
They blew
dude
it.
ripped
They blew
off
it.
9 yards on the first down.
But
Come on,
the
man.
Patriots, look, they blew it. The Patriots got a little lucky in some of those Super Bowls. Could have gone either way.
Marshawn Lynch gained 9 yards on first down.
Malcolm took it. They didn't blow it. I don't think that throwing the ball in that situation is foolish on a slant.
Call that play and
just
give
give
it
the ball to
to
Beast
you. Give it to Beast Mode. We're not even having this conversation.
How old is this debate?
It doesn't. Yeah, it's an old debate.
But the point is, don't try to compare the whole resume to the resume. I'm saying at the same point in the history of Belichick and Brady, Carroll and Wilson are not that, but they're the closest thing the NFC has
They
to
won't
it.
be.
No, they not.
They won't
close.
anywhere get anywhere
They're not
near
the
it.
closest to me. They're not the closest
But
to me.
Breeze is 40 years old.
I understand that. I understand Breeze is 40, and if Sean Payton doesn't take the Dallas Cowboy job next year, he'll be in New Orleans, right with Drew Brees again. So when you look at that, I'm more in line with Drew Brees and Sean Payton than I am with Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson.
Drew Brees was never game manager, big on third down, evolve into a star player. When he got to New Orleans, it's like, oh, look at this.
But this is the same.
Wilson is much more like Brady that way.
But he was. He's going to stay that way, though. He's never going to be Tom Brady, throw the ball 50 times and get 500 yards. It's never going to
Get
happen
the yards
in
the
Seattle.
same way, but he'll still put up big offensive numbers. He has been.
No, not like Brady completion percentage-wise. All of the sort of things that he won't do that because the offense
He doesn't have the
that
arm
Pete,
Brady has.
Well, the offense that Pete wants to run is not the same as New England. They don't run the same sort of stuff.
Of course, I'm
they
not
don't
saying
believe in the same
If
philosophy.
you drill down enough to enough details, of course, similarities you stop seeing similarities because they're not the same team. What I'm saying is the link up of a great coach and a great quarterback who comes into the league a certain way and then has a certain level of success. It's the closest thing we've seen. Wilson and Carroll haven't been together all that long to have already been to 2 Super Bowls and only missed 1 playoff.
I just don't think it's.
Are they still a
9 years?
Super Bowl caliber team, would you say, the Seahawks?
Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think every year. That's the point.
As long as they have
think
Russell
they're-
Wilson, I think they're a Super Bowl caliber team. But,
Right.
No, I think as long as they have a defense, they're a Super Bowl caliber team.
But you never
Defense.
count them out of the playoffs because they have
No.
Wilson and Carroll.
No, I
so
never
you
count- I
automatically
never-
you're
no, I
like they're
never
a
count them out
playoff.
of
That's
the playoffs
entirely
because of their
different.
defense.
Not counting them out is different than the way we think about the Patriots. You're almost crazy to say that the Patriots won't be in the conference championship. I don't think it's outrageous
Well,
to say that.
they get the wins out of the AFC East automatically, though.
Right.
So
No
they may
quarterback
drop
in the
one.
division ever.
Never.
Never.
I mean, you got Sam now in New York, and
We'll
then I
see.
don't know what up in Buffalo. I don't know what that is, and then obviously Miami with Josh and Fitzy. We kind of know what that is, but it's a new coaching staff there, so you want to give them time.
Think about what you just said. You say Fitzy, like that's the best you can come up with in 20 years in the division.
It's a bad
Come on,
division.
they're running unopposed, and Belichick's the greatest coach of all time, and Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Having the division has been really nice for them, but they still win big games.
No, they win big. They go to Pittsburghs and win. They go to those type of places.
they do it in the playoffs.
They
in
beat the
big
Baltimore's of
situations.
those situations.
So
they
that's
win big.
The Seahawks, this predates Russell Wilson, but the Seahawks knocked off the defending champion New Orleans Saints in the playoffs. The Seahawks not only won a Super Bowl, but came that close to winning another one against the Patriots.
Yeah, run the ball, you win.
Right, I agree.
Run the ball, you win.
All right, well, everyone can agree that while the Seahawks are not the Patriots, they are still a Super Bowl caliber team. In Pete Carroll's 9 seasons as Seahawks head coach, they have won 10 or more games, 6 times, made the playoffs 7 times, including a victory in Super Bowl 48.
Oh, sounds pretty good.
And
Sounds
guess
like
Not
the closest
too
thing
bad.
in the
All
right,
NFC to
everybody,
the
Hey, look,
Patriots.
coming up
and
next
according
on
to him,
First Take,
Jason
Stephen A.
Garrett is
may be
better
on
than Pete.
vacation this week, but we've got our own rankings. We're counting down the
Bill,
top
too.
5 duos in the NBA with the